Billy Bob Thornton himself has somehow managed to top Landman's weirdest story, and that's not something anyone expected in a season already packed with tonal whiplash and bizarre character choices. What makes this moment stand out isn't just that it's strange, it's that it blurs the line between character, performance, and creative direction in a way that perfectly encapsulates everything Landman Season 2 is struggling with right now. Thornton has always been the show's anchor. His portrayal of Tommy Norris is grounded, lived in, and believable even when the writing veers into uncomfortable territory. In Season 1, his performance made the absurdities of the oil world feel real. He sold the tension, the cynicism, and the quiet desperation of a man who knows the system is broken but keeps playing anyway. That's why it's so jarring when Season 2 hands him moments that feel less like character-driven drama and more like a dare to see how weird the show can get before it loses credibility. The latest storyline doesn't just push boundaries, it leaps over them. It's not weird in a clever, subversive way. It's weird in a way that feels self-aware, almost indulgent, as if the show is leaning into awkwardness for its own sake. And when that happens, even someone as skilled as Billy Bob Thornton can't fully ground it. What's striking is how this moment feels less like something Tommy Norris would organically do and more like something Billy Bob Thornton was willing to play. There's a difference. When an actor elevates material, you feel the character first. Here, you feel the performance, and that's usually a sign the writing has drifted too far from its foundation. This isn't about Thornton overacting. Far from it. If anything, he plays the moment with restraint. The issue is that the situation itself doesn't align with the emotional logic the show has spent 2 seasons building. Tommy is reckless, stubborn, and emotionally illiterate, but he's also pragmatic. When the show asks him to participate in something that feels performatively strange rather than psychologically consistent, it exposes the cracks in the storytelling. What makes this top Landman's weirdest story so far is how unnecessary it feels. It doesn't deepen the main conflict. It doesn't meaningfully advance Tommy's arc. It doesn't even land as sharp satire. Instead, it exists in that uncomfortable middle space where you're not sure if you're supposed to laugh, cringe, or question why the scene exists at all. And that's where Thornton's involvement becomes part of the conversation. His presence lends legitimacy to the moment, but it also highlights how far the show is drifting. When the most grounded actor in the cast is placed in the most bizarre scenario, the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. This moment also reinforces the idea that Landman Season 2 is suffering from a lack of restraint. The show keeps escalating weirdness instead of tension. It keeps adding layers instead of refining focus. Rather than trusting its core premise, power, oil, money, and consequence, it keeps reaching for shock, awkward humor, and tonal left turns. Ironically, Billy Bob Thornton is the reason this moment doesn't completely collapse. His performance adds just enough gravity to keep it from becoming outright parody. But that's also the problem. He's doing the heavy lifting to sell something that shouldn't need selling in the first place. It also raises questions about creative control. When a show reaches this stage, it often means the writers are experimenting without a clear anchor, relying on strong actors to smooth over inconsistencies. Thornton can do that, to a point. But even he can't fully reconcile a scene that doesn't belong to the same emotional universe as the rest of the story. Compared to earlier weird moments, Angela's chaos, awkward family dynamics, uncomfortable humor, this one feels different. Those moments at least revealed character. This one feels like it exists to provoke reaction. And when weirdness becomes performative instead of purposeful, it stops being interesting and starts being distracting. What's frustrating is that Landman doesn't need this. The show already has real tension. Cammy's risky decisions, Gallino's quiet manipulation, the offshore rig fallout, and Tommy's collapsing authority are more than enough. Injecting moments like this only muddies the waters. In a strange way, Billy Bob Thornton topping Landman's weirdest story isn't a knock on him, it's a warning sign for the show. When your strongest asset is placed in your most questionable storyline, it forces viewers to confront the show's identity crisis head-on. Thornton can play broken, conflicted, morally compromised men better than almost anyone. But even he can't make a scene feel earned if the narrative hasn't done the work. And that's the real issue here. This moment doesn't break Landman, but it does crystallize what's going wrong. The show is drifting from character-driven drama into self-conscious oddity. It's mistaking discomfort for depth and weirdness for boldness. Billy Bob Thornton didn't fail this scene. The scene failed him. And when that happens, it's not just weird, it's worrying.